Whether you like him with a big butt or no shorter than 5'9", or even in a suit that looks like an anthropomorphic animal with blue genitals, we all have our preferences when it comes to attraction, but is it possible to take it too far? Today we talk about all the little quirks that attracts us to each other, try to find the line between preference and prejudice. On Incognito Room, Episode 2, I Only Date Black Guys. I'm Khalid.
And I am Trey.
So, how's it going?
I'm good.
How are you? I mean, I'm pretty good. I'm doing all right. So, today's episode is going to be about preference and prejudice and where the line is at, if there is one.
Yeah.
Even. So, I wanted to start out giving a few science bits of attraction, if that is okay with you.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Okay. So, I found out, and this was from Sabrina Stierwalt.
Mm-hmm.
She actually hosts a podcast called Everyday Einstein. So
okay.
I'm going to check it out. So, shout out to her. It turns out that attraction, a big part of attraction is based on scent.
Okay, I would think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
I mean, hat.
But the more I guess in depth is that there is a piece of major MHC part of our genome, which is linked to our body's ability to protect ourselves and sexual attraction. So, you kind of your scent is like you smell them and it's like, oh yeah, this person's gonna be good for mating, reproduction. So there's that.
I mean, I would say that's how most animals operate in the first place, too.
Yes.
Well, animals with, like, the ability to smell, or at least sense.
Pheromone-based reproduction. That's how it goes. Apparently, they actually tested it out. The way they did it is they made men wear shirts for, like, a day or two. And then they handed it out to women.
I've heard of the study actually.
They just kind of. I will say though, in doctor PhD is that a anyway?
A PhD makes you a doctor.
She points out that those studies were apparently only done on white hetero couples though, so I don't think there's much of a difference, but you never know.
I wonder why. I guess to keep a consistent like
it was probably
group?
Just like. I mean, you also got to get, volunteers.
Yeah.
So it really depends on where they did it.
Yeah.
So that was one nice little interesting thing that I found. Like I said, check out Everyday Einstein podcast. It's really cool. I haven't had a chance to, but
So one thing I wanted to bring up is
before I forget.
Yeah, what's up?
While looking, and I'll read these out as we go.
Okay.
But there's one that I found that I thought was great and hilarious. That lower back curve that men like so much in women.
Yeah.
It's hypothesized that since pregnancy shifts a woman's center of gravity forward, men are attracted to the curve, better for baby making.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? Though?
No, it makes total sense. The arch.
Yeah. I just thought it was great.
No, I mean that makes total sense though. I mean, I think all the weird little things that like people are attracted to has like that whole evolutionary like it gives us an evolutionary gain at the end of the day.
There are differences when it comes to humans.
Yeah.
I did read an article that went into
we're a very social species, so that's
that biology and like biological history does have a huge part in, or maybe not huge. It's like a third of attraction, but the other 2/3 are like social emotional and social like connection. I think it's what it was.
Yeah.
So an example was this lady. I think she was a reporter or journalist, and I can figure it out later. But she started hanging around this guy who like was in charge of something involving like basketball players.
Mm-hmm.
But she started hanging out with him because she wanted to get to a basketball player. Because he was like physically not anything she was into,
but he was like the gateway to what she wanted.
So she kept going on dates with him, and then like on date 5, she realized like what the fuck, I love this guy.
No, I played myself.
Yeah, she played herself, and I'll find that later. I have it somewhere here in my notes, but I thought it was interesting. So she pointed out in her article that physically she liked basketball players, tall, masculine dudes, and here was this shorter, kind of like not fat but kind of chunky.
The exact dude. Opposite.
Yeah, the exact opposite. And then she was like, "Oh no, this is it."
Was it just the tall and athletic? Like, was do you know if like basketball was like her favorite sport, or was it just like the basketball players' build, or was it like was it racially driven? Like, considering that
it was mostly physical.
Okay,
it
gotcha.
Was, if I remember the article correctly, it was mostly physical.
Okay,
big, strong-looking dudes.
Gotcha.
Hot, and they're also. She also mentioned the whole social aspect of it. Like, oh, I'm dating a basketball player.
Oh yeah,
kind of mixture.
Yeah,
and then
as the internet would say, the clout.
Yeah, the clout. And then she played herself and fell in love with the guy that like set up, parties and stuff for her.
Yeah, so, the water boy, essentially.
Yeah. I think it was a lot more than water boy. He was a pretty important dude.
That's like a cool story, though.
Like, it is a cool story. I agree.
I wonder what he thought of, like, when he found out.
Yeah,
read the article. I'd be like, what the hell?
What the fuck?
I mean, I'm glad you like me now, but
yeah, I'd be pretty upset actually. I think I would.
That would upset me.
Okay, so let's say it happened tomorrow.
Okay,
my girlfriend's like, oh, I only started dating you because I really wanted to get to.
Yeah, I think you mentioning that, like, that sentence right there, kind of pissed me off. Like, that idea, would upset me greatly. And it's because, like, you're being used the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like it devalues you as a person. You're a tool at that point.
Your emotions.
You're
like, oh, she likes me for me, and it turns out that no, she likes you because you're like second option.
Yeah.
Maybe,
And then it kind of sounds like maybe she didn't, but like it kind of sounds like, oh, okay, I settled for this guy. You know what I'm saying? That's weird. I wonder if they're still together.
Yeah.
They are?
As of that article, and it was like a few years old, like 2016, 17, and they were married. And,
interesting.
Like, married since like early 2000s, kind of.
Wow.
So, yeah, they were still together when I read the article. So, yeah, it's, attraction is weird. It comes in all shapes and sizes. I did also do research on prejudice, but I was stunned, maybe not stunned, or surprised that most of the articles I found about prejudice were like 10 to 15 years old. There's like
really
hardly anything recent.
When it came to the law of attraction, correct?
No, the opposite, prejudice.
Oh, okay. You're just talking about prejudice, in general. Okay.
Yeah, because I tried to look up like prejudice when it comes to like relationships and stuff. Again, there's not much. The only thing I found like kind of recent was from like 2 or 3 years ago. It was a big chunk in research paper.
Yeah.
No article. It was like research,
like a thesis.
I found it. What was it called? It was from like from a human rights organization. Mm-hmm. It's called Process of Prejudice Theory, Evidence, and Intervention. And it's like this huge thing, and I was like, I'm going to read this later.
I'm going to have to look that up, actually.
I did find something that it kind of like rubbed me the wrong way. Because it is also old. It was from like 2006 6, 7, something like that.
Yeah.
It was from Arizona State University. I'll just read it because I've got it here because it really like rubbed me the wrong way, and you'll see why. A study that came out of Arizona State University, the prejudice said that prejudice is an evolutionary form of common sense built into us as a defense mechanism to protect our prehistoric ancestors from danger. Back then, outsiders were viewed as a danger, and more times than not, they were. The article. This is probably, I think this is part of my notes. The article does talk about how modern prejudice is still based off of fear, even though there actively is no threat. So, again, these are part of my notes here.
Yeah.
Mostly fear, and also feelings such as disgust and anger. Prejudice is also then used to reduce a perceived threat. Examples. You're going to like this one.
Oh, no.
White people see black males as a physical threat.
Physical?
Yeah, a physical threat.
Okay.
Gay men tend to be associated with AIDS, so prejudice involves disgust and wanting to avoid contact.
Okay.
Health risks. Oh, here it is. This article was posted in 2005, and there were some things that seemed off, such as if trying to reduce prejudice towards black men. These are in my notes, but this is quoted from the article. It would be inadvisable to suggest a game of outdoor nighttime basketball, given that darkness heightens people's fear. Sharing a plate of nachos might be a better choice. And that's about getting white people to not be afraid of, like, black men.
What? What?
What? I know. This, like I said, this article's from, like, 2005.
So hold on. They said, hey, that black guy you really want to be friends with, but you're too afraid of him, skip that late night basketball game.
Yeah, he'll just look scary.
He'll just look scarier. Instead, just get some nachos. That
I'm surprised it didn't say just get him some
fried chicken. Yeah, might as well.
Might as well.
Reach a common ground. You both like fried chicken. Go for it.
It was really weird because it's a fucking study, like an actual scientific study from Arizona State University.
It's so weird. If that came out today, it would be shredded. Like that paper would be
in a sense. To play devil's advocate, I understand the genetic part.
Yeah, okay, I get that. But maybe I think
historical genetic part about outsiders, and, threats. I can understand that, but it gets really fucked up when it's like
present day.
Yeah, it's like, hey, if you want to get over your prejudice of black guys, don't play basketball because they'll scare you. Start out small.
It's dark and they're really good. So, that's so weird. Well, speaking of prejudice. I think we should talk about like why we wanted to name this episode "I Only Date Black Guys."
Yes. I guess we should. I mean, we always point this out, and when it comes to these topics, just like, hey, don't get your panties in the fucking water, or whatever. I am a Latino man,
and I'm a black man, so
so we have experience in these topics,
and very different experiences too.
Because I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure you deal with it more than I do. I have yet to. Well, no, never mind.
Well, I
have.
I think we've dealt with it, but just in different ways. Is the thing. Like,
I was gonna say, I'm sure you've dealt with plenty of like white girls or whatever. They're like, yeah, I only date black guys.
Oh
I'm
my
interested
God.
in you. And then I was gonna say that I've never heard that, but I've heard some Southern women just straight up be like, yeah, I only date Mexican. It's just like, and I don't know why. Like, I just don't get it. I have no idea.
It's weird because there's only two races I've ever heard say something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And in the black community, I've heard black women say, black women and men say, I only date Asian men, or not Asian, white men or white women.
Mm-hmm.
It's generally, if it's a black woman, they're like, I really like white guys. Mm-hmm. Or if it's a black man, they're like, nah, I'll only go for white girls. But then there's this thing tacked onto it where they say like, because black girls are blah blah blah. It's weird.
Yeah, then okay. Okay, so question.
Okay.
If that weren't there, that like, in quotes, black girls are blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It was more like, because I just love big butts on white girls. Do you think that's okay? Is that a different? Like, is it different?
But, okay, so I think it... I mean...
Because, I mean, I like big
I do.
butts.
I mean, hell yeah, dude. I mean... So, okay, and ask me the question again. Let me...
So, let's start over. You said that whenever you see it in the black community, it's always like, you know, you always hear like something attached on to the end. I only date white blank because black men or women are blah, 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 blah. And it's, I take it it's almost always negative.
Yeah, it's generally negative.
So if that person just kind of didn't say that and just was like, yeah, I date, you know, white girls, I guess in this case, because, you know, and it's just like, because I just think white girls are cute. Is that different?
They only date white girls because white girls are cute.
Well, see,
that
you
sounds
put it that way. Sounds,
yeah, that's what you said.
Well, like, because I've heard some, and then maybe we should throw out that we live in the South.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of whiteness. Nothing wrong with that. It's the South. But I've heard around here, quite a few like white women say like, "Oh, I don't date white guys," and when I ask why not, a lot of the answer is cultural. They don't like the way Southern white men treat them because of Southern white culture. Does that make sense?
Okay, so I think they answer their own. I think they answer that question wrong. Then at the end of the day, they should have said, "I don't like."
Oh, okay. I see where you're going.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
So
I don't like to be treated them blah blah blah.
Yeah, I don't think them being white has anything to do with it. Well, maybe it has a small aspect of it just because the culture is different. Mm-hmm. But generally, I would just say I don't like being treated this way by these certain people. So,
well, I'm just saying that's the way they put it.
That's the way they put it, and I don't know. Like, I'm a person that has dated the rainbow. Dated a black person, a white person, and I'm in a relationship with an Asian person. Mm-hmm. All of them very different experiences. Yeah. So never once have I thought like, yeah, I only like this race, or like I'm really attracted to only this race. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And whenever people say that, I'm kind of like, well, why? Like, what's wrong with the other ones? Like, what? and I never get an answer really. It's always like, well, I just like the, you know, it's just my preference. That's what I get in quotations. It's just my preference.
Yes, it's just my okay.
So
you never like try to like dig into it. Like, come on, tell me what's going on here.
Not really, just because they get awkward once I ask. I think they realize they're talking to a black guy and they're like, oh wait, hold up, this is about race now. Ooh, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, well, that's the whole point of fucking starting. We should find someone. Again, we can come back to this at a later topic.
And find someone who only dates a certain race?
Yeah. And see what's up with that. Because, like, also, I think it's good to point. I like that you brought up, you know, the fact that you see that in the black community. Because when people think about, you know, like, oh, I don't date this race, I feel like they mostly think about white. Like a white person talking about.
Yes, and that's why I wanted to bring it up, because that's like the first thing you think of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he was like, yeah, I don't date black people because I'm white and, you know, white power or whatever.
Yeah,
you know?
The stereotype essentially.
Yeah, the stereotype. So I'm glad you brought that up, just to point out there's shitty people.
The shitty people everywhere.
Shitty people everywhere. So do you think in that case? Do you think it sounds a lot worse when a person of color says that versus a person of not color, Caucasian?
Do I think it's worse when a white person says it?
Yeah. So, or no, like, because I feel like people or society, I guess in general, here's a black man, black woman, Latino man, Latino woman, be like, well, I only date black guys, or I only date Latinas in my case. I feel like people would be like, yeah, okay, whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But if a white person is like, oh, I only date white guys or only date white girls.
You
I
know,
feel like a lot of people are like, oh, what the fuck's up with that?
Because I think of the stigma that's with it.
Yeah, the
like,
stigma.
So that whole aspect, that whole thing stems from like colonial times, actually.
Yeah, okay.
And it was the whole like the whole Jezebel and Mandingo thing, like, ooh, look at this strong working man out in the field. It's something I can't have. And I think that idea has evolved with America, and it's still there. It's still that little taboo, like, whoa, you can't do that. I'm not supposed to do that. It's okay to do it now because it's 2020.
Yeah.
But I think we still live in a racist country.
Yes. I
mean, and we still always... and there's times where people, if I said I only date black people wouldn't bat an eye to it because they're like, they think of it as normal.
Yeah.
If it's a white person, generally they're gonna be like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But if I said I only date white girls, I think it'd be like, whoa, why don't you date your own race?
I think that would also come from your own.
Oh yeah,
right?
Most definitely.
Like, I know I haven't had it as bad, but I know I've heard like other people kind of been like, oh, you know, it's kind of weird because in at least in my culture, Mexican culture,
yeah,
you know, if you date a white girl, you know, they look at you funny because it's like there's these stereotypes, or it's like, oh, she's gonna be lazy, she's not gonna do this or that, because like in Mexican culture they push a big part is family, you know. I'm sure that's changed, but you know, when I grew up, it was like, hey, family,
take care of your family,
you know, take care of your family,
work every day,
as a man,
yeah,
work, forget
you
school,
supply, yeah,
you provide.
Yeah.
So in that same sense, you know, they also tell you find a woman that is, you know, going to help, going to take care of your kids, going to support you. And I personally don't think there's anything wrong with that if both people that's what they want.
That's what they want.
They're happy, and,
yeah.
You know, people are being respected. But it's even gone to the point where it's like I've kind of heard some Latinas be like, well, you know, I want to have a strong, hardworking Latino man, but they're out here, you know, with white girls.
Yeah.
You know, I've heard some things like that. So I feel like that goes back it's almost not even racial when it comes to us. It's more about cultural.
It's the values.
Yeah. You know, they they have this weird perception that our values are different, and maybe sometimes they are.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, I think that some of them are like, different cultures value different things more than others. They sometimes devalue things.
I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Continue what you were saying. Sorry.
No, it's just my biggest thing, I guess, when it comes to that, because I've yet to see that as a physical thing towards me, and maybe it was. It just, okay. So let's kind of take it back to center here. Do you think it's prejudice? Because we've talked about it a little. But if say, you know, I'm at home by myself and I'm lonely, or, you know, I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna beat one out tonight. I'm gonna go to Pornhub and look up Asian girls.
Look
up, you know, black girls.
Okay.
Do you think there's some, like, is there a preference there? Is there a prejudice there? Or, like, what's up with that? You know, personal opinion, I kind of, I guess this is from my point of view. I guess I can't really speak for anybody else.
Yeah.
But for me, it would just be like preference, in the sense that I don't prefer one over the other. Like, I am literally like, oh man, all these girls are awesome. You know, fuck it.
All these girls are awesome, but I'm in the mood for this today.
Yeah, but I'm in the mood to see a girl like this. You know, I try to go.
See, okay, that's different because I feel like it's very superficial. Like, you're not trying to build a relationship with this person or anything. No. I think where it matters. So in that regard, I don't think that's, you know, prejudice. But on the other side of that situation, I think the porn industry probably is very racist in that regard, like very prejudiced. But that's a different topic on its own.
Yes, that is a whole.
Yeah. I think when it comes to relationships, like building a relationship, that's where you can get into like that. It gets a little dicey.
Okay.
Because I've heard people say, "Yeah, I only date black guys," and I haven't had too many conversations about with the person about why, but I only can assume that it's strictly like visual. Like I like physical. Like I like this because different races are built differently. Black people tend to be a little bit more muscular. They tend to be a little tall. So I feel like that's what they're going for. That's what I hear when people say that.
Yeah.
Like I only date black guys. I'm like, okay, well, why? What could you tell me that's different from a white guy other than
I feel
like physicality?
Most people are too afraid to say because black guys have huge dicks.
Yeah, and like at the end of the day,
and I've brought it up before. What about the one black guy that has a small dick? Like, how does he feel? You know?
But that's
I'd like to talk to him.
That's the thing. That stereotype creates a whole bunch of like self-esteem issues in the communities and stuff. Like
maybe inflated egos,
inflated egos as well. It's just not good for anyone at that point. And I mean, I think people worry too much about the reason why people date, and they apply with their own little stereotypes onto a couple, and that it creates a world where it's just full of stereotypes. And it just never goes away because of that reason. When you see a white couple, or when you see a white man and a black woman together, people assume things like, "Oh, she's race trading." Like, "Oh, why didn't she stick with that minority and stuff?" Or he's just using her as like a little trophy. Like, I got my little black Jezebel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When no, they're just a couple. Let them do their thing. But
at least I have yet to run into an interracial relationship where there is some underlying thing like that. Does that make sense? Well, I said I haven't.
Yeah, you haven't.
I haven't.
Yeah.
So so maybe I've just been around good people. It's mostly been like, oh yeah, I fell in love with this person and I'm with them.
Yeah.
Oh wait, no, never mind. I just remembered something. I just remembered. Yes, I have met people. Maybe I just kind of blanked it out.
I just like
I want to believe.
Oh no, I have met a shitty person before.
I just want to believe.
Yeah.
You seem like you had something to say about that.
Yeah. And it's not like a close friend or even an acquaintance. It's just I've seen that happen before where, like, you can see it on TV. Sometimes you will see interracial couples, and one I can think of is like a white male and an Asian woman. A lot of the way they're portrayed on TV is like a really subservient Asian woman, like wife, and the money making, like breadwinner white husband, and it's just really weird how they portray it that way.
See, because like I feel like it's not right, but I feel like there is some truth to that in the sense that there are a lot of like mail order brides that are from Asia. Yeah, but I mean, there's a lot of them from South America and Central America. But I feel like I gotta be honest. I mean, like if I'm out driving around and I see this old busted white dude with like a really pretty Asian lady, sometimes I'm like I kind of beat myself up. Yeah, I'm like, must be the money. But
I mean, but at the end of the day, we gotta say no. They could be in love, dude.
I mean, yeah, I do tell myself like, no, they could just love each other. Yeah, relationships are weird and crazy. Yeah, but
he must have a huge penis.
He's gonna have a huge cock.
But I mean, okay, let's go back. Let's go back really quick. Okay. So, this whole thing is about prejudice versus preference. Yes. Can you define what is your definition of preference when it comes to relationships? I think defining prejudice versus prejudice versus preference is going to help us figure out where this line is, if there even is one.
I may be the wrong person to ask that.
Okay.
Because I know I've brought it up, at least, personally talking with you, that my thing is, am I attracted to them? Which usually tends to be feminine. Like, I'm attracted to feminine people.
To feminine features, yeah.
Yeah, and my thing is, like, am I attracted to them? And I even divide it up. Like, I personally, will be attracted to someone physically.
Yeah.
But I can tell I'm not attracted to them emotionally. And if I don't care about them as a person,
then it's not, yeah.
Yeah, so I kind of find myself in a weird spot sometimes because, people are like, oh, yeah, she's hot, blah, blah, blah. And I'm over here like, yeah, but she's a bitch.
I hate her.
Yeah, I hate her. And my hatred prevents me from getting a boner. So, you guys do whatever, but I'm not on board.
Yeah.
So at least, okay, so maybe physical preferences to me. Because, again, when it comes to emotional, it gets a little complicated. But like I said, I do divide them up. I would define it as maybe like features that attract you to people, or just kind of things that make your loins tight, I guess. I'm a look.
That sounded really weird.
You answer this question. I am the wrong person to ask this. And I will throw out, in my defense, maybe not even defense, or just kind of to explain myself, life has been a little weird for me. And I feel like specifically in the past, like 4 or 5 years, I have learned a lot about myself and about me.
Yeah.
And my sexuality specifically.
Yeah.
And I'm 30, let that sink in, and I can't tell if it's, just because of the way I grew up or the things that I went through or just kind of what it was like. It's just, it feels a little weird because in some sense I'm like, I feel like I should have figured this out.
Like, way
10
back.
years ago, but.
No, dude, I mean, we're always changing. And I feel like people generally think that, oh, when you become this age, you're generally going to be the same person forever. But that's not the case. A lot of times. There's a lot of life to live, and a lot of change happens along that way.
I guess what's different now is people are more willing to listen. Like if it were 1980s, well, for the most...
Yes, yeah. Okay, I would say from back then, they are definitely more willing to listen now.
If I were 30 in the 1980s and I told another guy, it's like, I don't know, I'm more attracted to somebody's personality and the way they are. They'd be like, you're whatever, man.
All right.
You're gay. Like,
yeah.
Fuck you. Wait. But yeah, I think people are just more open to it nowadays, and it's
I think people are figuring it out now. Like that, it's not just this.
I don't even want to say they figure it out. I mean, I'm just now.
No, I'm not saying people are figuring themselves out. I'm saying they're figuring out that things aren't just stagnant and like
it's not black and white.
It's not black and white. There is a lot of gray.
How do you define preference? I think you might be. Well,
so mine's more of a checklist.
Okay, all right.
And I think this is
here, nebulous, and over here you've got.
What and I may be wrong. It could be wrong, but I feel like my definition. I'm not going to give you a definition. I'm going to give you a little checklist of what I think people who are about to date someone. This is how you figure out if your preference, if it's preference or if it's prejudice. If you can check off these things, so ask yourself, am I attracted to them because they are black? Or white, or Asian. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Am I attracted to them because of their muscle build, or the way they carry themselves, or the way they dress, or the way they smell? If it keeps going back to race, I think you got a problem.
Okay.
And yes, there's some features that are specific to certain races, like rounder features when it comes to black people, sharper features when it comes to Caucasian people. And that's okay. I like you can say I like sharper features, but that generally shouldn't alienate you from a whole race of people. You know what I'm saying? Because there are black people and there are white people with different features.
Mm-hmm.
There are some white people with very round features, some black people with very sharp features. I think people get in trouble when they're like, nah,
I'm not even gonna play with that.
Nah, he's black. I like that. That's cool. You know what I'm saying? And some people think that way. So sometimes they even look past qualities that they wouldn't normally like, because they're black or white or Asian.
So in that
when you start devaluing your other things because of their race, I think that's where you get in trouble.
You start putting like emphasis on the race.
Yes.
So now let's go a little deeper into that, because like I said before, a lot of the research I did said, yeah, physical, it's about a third, but the rest of it is social, emotional, sometimes economical. So do you feel like, let's stick with the way we're going? Like, if a girl says I only date black guys,
okay,
what do you think? Is it mostly physical? Do you think it, or is it? Because I feel like I feel like some girls, like white girls specifically, again in the South, have been interested in me for the taboo part of it.
Oh yeah,
the cultural taboo of it.
It's something they don't know. And
people.
Everyone wants something they can't have.
Mm-hmm.
Or that they're not supposed to have.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a big part of it, especially in the South, because it's so racially divided or segregated down here. So a lot of it is wonder, curiosity, that kind of thing. Like, I don't really know what it would be like, but I want to know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I think you're right on that. Yeah.
Something, and to move away from race a little, because prejudice
it's not just race.
It's not just race. I think racially, I haven't experienced it a lot. I mean, maybe physically, because I personally don't feel like I'm the best looking dude out there, but I know I've felt it based on the way I look, in the sense that I'm a big brown man with a lot of tattoos.
Yeah, and
I feel like I have met women, I guess in this case specifically, who I was like, oh yeah, I feel a connection here. I'd like to see where this goes, and then
they just didn't want to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, kind of it was like, oh, I'm gonna go have fun with this, what looks like a bad boy, but I don't have to deal with the bad boy consequences.
Yeah,
but it's not really something I want to take home to mom and dad.
Yeah,
and then I feel like, at least for me, that was pretty hurtful. Actually.
Oh yeah,
especially because like a lot of the times that it's happened, it's just like, oh, I think I really like this girl. I'd like to take it further, and then it turns around and it's like, oh no, I was just having my fun. It's, wait, what?
I totally get that. The relationship that I had where I was with a white girl, I was broken up with because of my race, and it wasn't really her saying like, I just don't like it. It was more of like, yeah, if I brought you home, my dad would disown me. And that's really fucking sad.
Yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
So it's not good for anyone. It's rough all around, because she probably missed out on a lot of experiences from not being able to date someone like me, and probably will be just. She probably would never get to have that kind of experience of dating outside her race and seeing what other options are out there and that kind of thing. Her whole worldview is kind of like narrowed. So
there's a lot of fun you're missing out there.
Yeah,
a lot of fun. Something I'd also like to point out that I just remembered. Being a single dad, sometimes that comes with some really weird advances.
Advances?
Yes.
Or advantages?
Okay, so this actually goes both
ways. Disadvantages.
I've had girls approach and be like, "Oh, so you got the dad bod, or are you do you know what I'm saying? Can you come over and choke me and call me daddy because you're literally a dad. big. And
I think it'd be.
It's like
not to downplay this, but
no.
I just imagine the situation. I imagine the situation where like you tell them you have kids, and they're like, "Oh wow, okay, he's gonna have the dad bod. He's gonna be hot. Oh my god, I'm gonna call him daddy." And you get over there, and you're the most like ripped guy, like very active. You don't look like you don't have the dad bod going on, and your son or daughter's like in their 20s. You're like, yeah. I don't have my kids in the house, and they're like, oh, they're completely turned off from it. Like, oh, I wanted a dad.
No, I wanted someone to.
Yeah, you just took your kid to preschool, didn't you?
Yeah,
yeah, like that kind of thing.
I mean, fetishes are weird. That's okay, but it kind of does get a little weird after that. And on the other end, I've had people be like, oh, you've got kids,
and just stop it,
and just stop.
There.
Which that I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
I've always, this is going to make me sound like a dick, but, personally, I've just decided to not date until, my daughter's 18.
Mm.
But I wouldn't want to date a single mom, especially the type that are like, oh, I come as a package. If you're going to date me, you're going to have to be with my kids. And it's like, No, I'm not gonna. First of all, I'm not gonna ignore my kid to give attention to yours.
Yeah.
And two, that's just not fair to the person joining the relationship and to your children. Because what if you start dating this person and it goes great, and you're together for like a year or two? What if the relationship between that person and your kid or kids becomes almost parent-like? You can love a child that is not yours. At least I think so.
Yeah.
And then you break up with them. What are you going to do to your child? What are you going to do to them? That's technically it's not their child legally, but you're taking this.
You just severed a relationship that you built up. Like,
yeah, that's pretty fucked up.
I don't have kids, so I never even thought of that.
Yeah, no, I thought of that. I personally, I'm not gonna. If I were to date anybody, I'm not gonna introduce them to my child for
a while,
6+ months.
Yeah,
until I know hey, this is getting serious,
Okay,
Yeah, because I don't think it's fair. It wouldn't be fair to her, and it wouldn't be fair to my daughter. Because, what if they meet and they're like, oh my God, I love this kid, you know? And then, my kid's also the same way. It's like, oh, this is awesome. And then things fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of messed up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never. That's an interesting way. That's an interesting perspective. I never thought about that at all.
I'm never really given the the chance to explain myself. I'm just like, no, I'm not gonna date a single mom. And there's like, but you're a single parent. Well, hold on. There are reasons. And they're just like, no, you're just an asshole. Well, go fuck yourself with it.
You don't get it. Do you have kids? No. Oh,
exactly.
Okay, go away. So I haven't been on like a dating site in years. But I do remember when I think I was on Tinder like 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I remember that I would see people do the whole thing where in the bio they'll say, no, this insert race here.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Or have you seen that before?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have.
The way you shook your head, I was just like, oh, he's about to lay into this one.
Well, yes and no.
Yeah.
I kind of think it's funny, personally.
Really?
Because, I used to, scroll through, crawl through Craigslist because I found some of that shit hilarious. And I'd be like, yeah, look here's a picture of me, and it's like, questionable people.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yeah, but no black guys. Like, no black or Mexicans.
Yeah.
Okay, good luck, I guess.
Yeah. You just cut out a third of your options.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's a little confused.
It's abrasive.
Yeah, but at the same time, I've kind of gotten to a point where it's like, okay, I'm just not going to interact with you. But
part of me, so sometimes I make little fantasies in my head.
We all do.
I I think of that person, that guy or girl who says, no, insert race here. I would love if a person of that race was like, you know what? I'm going to get in this guy. I'm going to get in this person's heart. And they just start messaging them. They're texting. They never look at each other, and they fucking fall in love over the internet. And then they meet, and he's just this Hispanic guy. And I just want to see what the reaction would be. Of like, wow, this person's great. And then they see the race. Like, what happens there? You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah.
I just want to know what that, like, what those mental hurdles are like.
I can't tell whose fantasy is more petty, yours or mine, which is like, yeah, I just want to fuck a racist white girl. She can wear her hood. I don't care.
Oh my god! I think you win the petty off on that one.
Just, give her the.
Mine was about like love and like figuring out who you are. You're just like, no, I just want to slam someone. Just I want to slam the clan. Just
slam the clan. I like that.
Another thing I wanted to bring up. I was gonna say a less serious note, but you know the movie Get Out.
I haven't seen it, but I do know it.
Okay. You have not seen that movie?
No, I just never got around to it. So, Trey goes on to talk about Get Out for like 5 minutes, including spoilers. So I decided to cut it out. I am putting together a sort of blooper reel, and I'll add it in there if you want to hear our thoughts on it, as well as some other juicy conversations we've had. So look forward to that.
I think you should watch it. It pertains to everything we're talking about, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when it comes to dating and like interracial relationships and stuff.
Look if you go. I don't know. I just never got around to watch it. I've heard that it's good, but I also have. I guess I was just too afraid to watch it because I like horror movies.
Yeah,
and I'm like, it's got to meet these criteria. But at the same time, I'll fucking watch like shitty horror movies just for the hell of it. So it's either got to be really good or really bad.
To be honest, I wouldn't even call it a horror movie then.
No.
I would call it like a psychological thriller.
Okay.
It's kind of like one of those.
Okay.
It doesn't really have those like stings and tropes that would be in a horror movie. Not really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll give it a shot.
It's more of a mind trip, that kind of thing.
Mind trip. Oh, man.
But I think we touched on everything. Would you say? Oh, not everything, but
not everything.
A good chunk of it.
It turned into us talking about what we've been through, which I guess is what we know.
Yes, I mean that's all we can talk about is what we know.
I would like to talk to someone from the other end, as in like, I only date black dudes.
I only date this race. Yeah,
it's a little. It becomes obvious when it's just me and you that these are our, how to put it, these are our experiences, and I want to know somebody else's. But again, this is kind of like a calling call. We can throw it out there if you want to, talk to us. The Rona's getting kind of in the way a little, but we could do like a Skype call or Discord.
Yeah. If you only like black guys or Asian guys or
whatever,
Mexican women, I don't know.
Yeah, whatever. Just
if you only like this certain race and you want to talk to us, then by all means.
I would love to. I feel like there's a lot to learn there.
There won't be any shaming either.
Yeah, no shame.
This is all like informational. That's all we want to know.
You can stay anonymous.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that in mind. We're not going to judge you. I hope I'm not being judged because I wanted to make that fast twitch muscle fiber joke.
For fucking 42. Jackie Robinson movie.
But yeah, no. Do you have any parting thoughts?
Parting thoughts. I would say just gosh, put me on the spot.
I mean,
whenever it comes to if you only date a certain race, don't freak out from hearing this podcast. We're not saying you're a bad person.
Yeah, no.
All I say is to evaluate, really critically think about why you're dating this person.
Mm-hmm. I mean, in the end, we can't tell someone who
Yeah, I mean,
who to be attracted to. Like, you really can't.
you can't.
But I think it's healthy to kind of look at what you've been doing, you know, your
Self-reflect,
biases,
yeah.
and just be like, what am I doing? Am I doing this am I doing this for me or because of what I'm expected to do? You know?
Yeah. But that's all I got to say. What about you?
Oh, well, I mean, originally the question is there a line, or is there a difference between
Prejudice and preference?
Oh,
there is a difference, but
there is
where's the line?
Yeah, and I think that line is pretty blurry.
Yeah. It's case by case on that one.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I now have more questions.
That's good, though.
Yes. It's just, I don't know. It's hard to try to really give an actual answer. I mean, I guess a lot of people would look at me and you and be like, well, you guys, you're black, you're Latino. I'm sure you go through it a lot, but I mean, we only know our side. We only know what it's like to maybe receive it. Maybe even then, because like you said, it's not just, you know, white and minorities. It's sometimes minorities with other minorities.
Yeah.
Or minorities and white.
For sure.
It goes both ways. And I think it's healthy to talk about that, because I feel like if you bring it up, a lot of people will be like, oh, that's just internalized racism. It's like, no, I want my people to be smart and not dumb. You know, just think about it for a while. Be nice. Other than that,
just think, people.
I had a good time.
I did too. Again, like you said, I have more questions than answers, but it was a good conversation. Well, that was it, folks. We're gonna go ahead and.
I feel like the end got a little real there. Especially because it's like I said, racially, I don't think I've experienced it as much. It's just more like, you know, I know I've talked to you that I feel like I come off as intimidating, and I'm not.
Yeah.
And I feel like I've felt it more. At least it's hurt more that way, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, I like the way I put it, you know, big brown tattooed man is not what you bring home to mom and dad.
I mean, but I don't feel like that's what this is about. It's like getting real. Like,
yeah, it's just thinking about it makes me. I mean, obviously, it makes me a little upset, but it brings back questions. Is it something I did? Is it my fault?
No.
Am I looking too much into it? You know,
you can't change what people think of you if they don't know who you are.
That's the thing, though.
Like, if someone, what do you mean? That's the thing, though.
Because
okay,
I feel like in the situations I've been, they knew, and they still chose what was expected of them. Do you know what I mean?
No.
As in, like, if say your family disapproved of your girlfriend,
yeah,
but you know you felt about her the way you feel now, maybe not now, but
yeah,
you know, in your mind it was like, I think I like this. I think I like where this is going. But you know, your upbringing, your family, your personal culture, like familial culture, was like, nope. Would you leave?
No.
Why
would I?
Because
I've sacrifice my happiness to make someone else feel better about themselves.
That's kind of where I'm kind of stuck, because I've been in situations where I thought things were like, yeah, this is great, this is going, but then they chose the other option, and it's like, is it something I did? Was I looking too much into it? Was I being
what do you mean they chose the other option? Like
they chose what was expected of them. Again.
Okay. So at the end of the day, that's not your fault, because that's the person they're trying to be safe. They're choosing what's familiar, because people are afraid to do things that they don't know how, or they don't know about. Like, the uncertainty of things is kind of scary, I guess.
don't get me wrong, because like if I stop and think about it, you know, I'm like, yeah, no, I was kind of messed up, but in the end, I can't change anyone. You know, I am well aware, but I just can't help. You know, I guess my biggest thing is, was I the only one that felt that way? Was I maybe looking too much into it? You know, and if it wasn't, was there some, and I do think it is a decent or like an okay question for me to ask. Did I do something wrong? Because I mean, I'm not perfect, and you know, there was a time where I was not someone that I wanted to be. You know?
Yeah.
So,
but okay. So if that's the case, did the people, like, did the family know that?
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, let's say they didn't then. Let's make it hypothetical. Let's say they didn't.
Let's go hypothetical completely.
Yeah. If they didn't, is it your fault that the person didn't chose what was expected of her?
I mean, if it's that, no.
Okay.
It's not my fault. If it's just straight that. And I guess, you know, it's hard to kind of talk about it in a hypothetical sense.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, only you would know the answer to this question because you know the details of it.
Yes, I do, and I don't want to give the details.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to put somebody in the position, just kind of be like, hey, I just threw this thing about us on the internet, you know?
No, I get you.
But it's something I think about sometimes in the sense of, like I said, you know, especially at the time, I was going through a lot of stuff, and I'm sure I did a lot of things, or said a lot, maybe not did, mostly said a lot of things that maybe I shouldn't have. Maybe I came off a lot angrier.
So is this, are you asking this concerning like race and stuff?
Maybe not race. Man, now I'm confused myself. I confused myself. It's more like, I guess it goes back to like prejudice. Like I was saying, I feel like there's
was
less...
this me or was this prejudice?
Yes. You know, did I do something, or was it, you know, the whole, like I keep saying, big brown tattooed man?
Yeah.
Not exactly something that I want to take back home. Yeah.
And with that, I don't want to say this, but I have to, is you never know. I can't answer that for you. Only you can. It's
I know. I'm aware. I am aware. But again, like I was trying to say, I think about it in a way to kind of reevaluate myself.
Yeah,
I like to kind of, you know,
self-reflect.
Yes, my form of medication is to, like, once a week kind of just chill, relax, and think about, I guess, kind of my week, what I could have done better as a person,
what you did, how could you have changed it, the outcomes of it, that kind of thing, which I think everyone should do, because I don't think people do it enough. Some people just think they're going throughout, like, they just do things, they're like, yeah, that was the best way I could have done that. I killed that shit.
They never think about it ever again.
Never.
To live such an easy, simple life.
Yeah. It's to not give a damn.
To be able to have the confidence to send unsolicited
dick pics.
Yeah. Unsolicited dick pics. Man, I wish I had that confidence, man. You gotta have some big balls to do that.
Figuratively.
Figuratively. Unless you're expecting me, like, hey girl, look at these big balls.
No dick. Just balls. Well, with that being said, I think we should end there.
Okay.
Again, guys, thanks for listening. Man, we went on some tangents, but hey,
I think it was fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I hope so. Anyway.
Next time, I don't know what we're gonna be. I don't know what we're gonna be talking about, but I'm sure it'll be a good discussion. We can brainstorm. If you guys have any suggestions as to what we should talk about, feel free to send us those suggestions.
Yes, let us know if there are questions or topics that you are maybe too afraid to talk about, or maybe you feel like you will be judged,
or you just don't have the means of talking. There's no one to talk to.
Let us do.
Yeah,
we don't care. We'll get judged for you.
We'll take that bullet for you.
Thanks for watching.
Yep.
Listen.
Yeah, listen. See you guys.